Okay, so let's talk about how REM-on and REM-off cells work together. And so what's really important here is that they work sort of alternating to provide us with the opportunity of REM sleep. So I'll give you guys a sort of a graph here. Okay, so we're going to look at this split up into high and low neuronal activity. Okay. So these are the neuronal activity levels, okay? And so we're going to call REM off cells blue, and then we're going to call REM on cells red, okay? And so what happens here is through the course of the night, the REM off cells are activated, okay? And then you're not going to experience REM sleep. And so what's going to happen is over the course of time, these are going to weaken. Okay. And then as they weaken, your REM on cells are going to activate. So we're going to see them sort of crossing here. Okay. And they're going to be activated, those REM on cells are going to be activated for a period of time. But then what happens is they really they weaken to the point where they drop off. But while they're activated, we're going to experience an episode of REM sleep. And while that is happening, these REM off cells have very low levels of neuronal activity. And then as those REM on cells weaken, the REM off cells are going to take charge. Okay. And so what they're going to do then is they're going to be activated for a little while. Okay. And then the REM, and so we're not going to experience REM sleep. And then the REM on cells are going to then go, okay, well, it's my turn now. And so then we're going to see this sort of happen where the REM on cells become activated again. Okay. And then, of course, they're going to weaken. But as they're activated, we experience REM. Okay. And then they're going to, of course, get tired. And then here we see the REM off cells are going to be able to take over. Lost my pencil. There we go. Okay. And then we see this sort of activity moving on throughout the night. And then what ends up happening is that we get these periods of REM sleep. And so as this sort of pattern keeps going, we're going to see REM off cells activate, meaning that we're not experiencing REM sleep. We're going to see those REM on cells, REM off cells weaken, and then the REM on cells take over. And then we're going to see the person go through REM sleep, and then the REM on cells can only go so long, and then they're going to weaken, and the REM off cells are going to take over. And so this is why we see sort of this pattern of non-REM to REM cycles and stages throughout the night.